Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Balky here again, and today I'm going to be showing you how to sew this beautiful dress. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On here I do sewing tutorials, fashion DIY, everything fashion related. So you can either style this dress like I wore in the first video or this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, turn on the bell so you won't miss any of my videos. This video is going to be so detailed, you're going to love it. So at the back of this dress, I realized that I needed to hold my dad upward. I went ahead to do this later. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share your thoughts in the comment section, and let's jump right into it. So I'm going to be cutting it now. Firstly, I'm going to be cutting my skirt part. It's a gown, but there's a skirt part and there's a half length from your shoulder to waist and then your waist to the full length. So I'm going to be cutting the waist to the full length first, and my shoulder to waist measurement is 15 inches. So I'm going to be taking out 15 inches and then I'll proceed with the other parts of the skirt. So my shoulder to hip measurement is 23.5. That's what I'm measuring right now, and my full length measurement is 53 inches. So I'm going to go ahead. These are my, I don't know if it's vertical or horizontal measurements, but you know what I mean. And I'll go ahead and roll a line, and then I'll cut the vertical measurements. Forgive me if I'm wrong. So right here I'm going to be dividing my hip measurement by 4. You can use your tape to do that. You can first divide it by 2. My hip measurement is 37 inches. Dividing it by 2 gave me 17 point something, and dividing that by 2 gave me 9.2. So I'm going to put that and mark it. But I'm really managing my fabric. As you can see, I'm making sure that the measurement is exact with my hip measurement plus my 1.5 inch sewing allowance. I'm trying to adjust it to give me that fit so I won't be wasting any fabric. So my waist is 27, so I'm going to do the same thing, and my waist is going to be given 6.2. I'll add 1 inch for that intake, and then I'll go with my 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then at the bottom of the skirt, you're going to make sure that your hip measurement is the measurement you're going to be taking for the bottom of the skirt without an allowance. So our hip was 9.2. I went in with my 9.2, and I'm not going to add any allowance to that since it's a pencil skirt. You want it to fit properly. I'm going to go ahead and connect all of these points together. Remember, I took 1.5 inches from the hip measurement for my sewing allowance, and down there we don't need any allowance because we're going to subtract it from there since we want a beautiful fitting. And I'm going to be connecting all of these lines together, and I'll be cutting the dress. On the waist, I'm going to be going in with where I'm going to be holding my dart, which is 3.5 inches, because my nipple to nipple measurement is 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I'll go in with 3.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. But guys, at the bottom of this skirt, you can see that the material is not as long as my length. That is because I'm going to be using part of the material for my lining. You see what I'm going to do there. I'm going to cut it increasingly at the bottom, like not straight down. I'm going to increase the size because I'm going to be folding it upward. Since this upper part is not straight, I'm going to fold it. I've cut it to be big because when I fold it, I will then adjust it to be the same as the front part, so that when I fix my lining to it, it's going to be neat and beautiful. I'll go ahead to make a notch at that point so I will know where to bend. I won't be confused on where to bend it, and I'm going to make a notch at that line there. That's all we have for the front. Now for the back, you have to fold your fabric wider than the front because you want your back to be bigger than the front part, as in we're going to be leaving some allowance for the zipper. We're going to be taking in a zipper allowance of about 1.5. Me, I went with 1.5. I told you guys earlier that I'm managing the fabric, so I went in with a stitching allowance of 1.5 inches. That's all we need at the back. You can add extra inches if you want your slit at the back to be very covered. As for me, I don't want it to be very covered, so I'll go with 1.5 inches all through. And you're going to make sure you cut it the same. You follow the front part. I placed the front part here because I wanted to make the work easier. I'm going to trace this and just cut exactly like this, make those notches, and we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the front part now. For the front part, remember I said from our shoulder to waist measurement is 15 inches. So I'm going to be measuring my 15 inches, but you saw the style we're sewing. It had no upper part. I'm going to be marking my 15 inches, my bust point, my under bust point, very important. I'm going to make that and roll a straight line over it. Then I'm going to be going in with my shoulder measurement, which is 15 inches. I'll fold it into 2 and I'll measure 7.5. And my bust measurement, I'm going to be dividing it by 4. My bust measurement is 34. Dividing it gives me 8.5 inches. My under bust is 27 inches. So I'll be adding a little bit into 6.5 for my 27 inches, and I'm going to be reeling that all the way down. I'm adding 1 inch for my dart intake and my 1.5 inches for stitching allowance. I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 inches all through, and I'm going to make my armhole. I love doing this, even though the dress I'm sewing don't necessarily need all of this, but I love doing it. So I'm going to be measuring my shoulder to my armhole measurement. I'm going to be taking out 1 inch from the top because our shoulder is slanted, and now I'm going to be going in with my 7 inches. The way to get this is by taking your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 is going to give you your armhole measurement. So mine is 7, and I went ahead to draw a straight line. I'll be dividing my 7 into 2 to get my armhole curve, and then I'll be going in by 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to form the curve. So this is what I have. I'm going to be measuring my bust measurements on that line and adding my stitching allowance. If you have a French curve or whatever curve which will make your work easier, I think that is a lot more better. This fabric is really slippery and it moves a lot, so I'm going to be pinning it down to stay in place. I cannot fail. I cannot fail. So this line I'm printing is my chest line. My chest line. I can use this line, or I can add more inches to it to cover my breast properly. So I'll be adding 1 inch to that for more coverage. My cleavage should be covered. Then I'll be going in with my dart. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7 divided by 2. It's 3.5. So I'll be going in all through to that upper line that I just drew. So I'm making a straight line there, and I'll be taking out 1/2 inch from each side. That is my bust is big, but I'll be using 1/2 inches for this. As you can see, I'm going with the down up. I'm going in with 6 inches down on the downer part, which I later added because I am busty. I'll be connecting the top line to the under bust line. I'll be connecting with a curve using my free hand. And I'll say it again, if you have a French curve or any other curve, it will be better, but if you don't have it, you can still use your free hand like myself. I realized that that will not be enough for me, so I added 1/2 inch to the side dart, to this center side front. Yeah, and that is what I have. I'm making sure that all of my measurements are okay. On the line, chest line, I took out 1 inch, 1/2 inch from both sides, which is 1 inch. I'm going to be adding that to the armhole, and I'll be drawing my armhole because of the 1 inches that I just added. You're supposed to add it so that it won't be small. For the waist part, I already added 1 inch for dart intake, but it appears my dart right now is close to 2 inches. I'm going to be making use of the other 1.5 allowance that I left at the side, because I won't be adding any more allowance to this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the fabric. So I left my front part like this. You can go ahead and cut it, or I decided I'll cut my lining before I cut. All of these front parts, the dart part, I was supposed to cut it, but I decided I'll cut it with my lining together. So I went ahead to spread my fabric for the back part, and I placed my front part on top of it to ease my work. Oh, don't forget your zipper allowance behind. I always use 1.5 inches, and I'm going to be cutting exactly what I have in front here, everything equally. And then I'm going to be making a notch on the path of the dart, because the back part I'll hold a dart to it, which is quite different from the front dart. So I also went ahead to cut the front part, the falling part, or the wrapper part. I went with 30 inches wide and 52 inches long, or 50. You can do yours at 45. I just choose to have it that long. So guys, that will be all for the cutting, and I'll be uploading the other video, the sewing video. I couldn't do it all in one video because it will be too long. Thank you all for watching. I love you. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye.